Loic Hares from UK Band Networks. In this world where budgets are being squeezed and capital is decreasing, would there be an appetite in local authorities and kind of central government departments to let private companies come in and buy assets off them and kind of lease it back to them?
So the purchase of government assets by private companies to be leased back. Who would like to? David?
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely no reason why not. Obviously, there are some very clear guidelines around the EU procurement law as to how we have to do that, and particularly in terms of some of the opportunities that I've looked at in the past related to building assets and things like this that for us offered the opportunity to have fairly underutilised building asset stock put back into the community, put back into use. But then we had some beneficial use in terms of be it chambers, meeting rooms, or whatever else. But there are some very strict rules around how that's done in terms of how we can't influence and control, the utilisation of the building, how it gets adopted, making sure that we don't have any controlling interests, to not fall foul of the development rules set out by the EU procurement law. So yes, there is a requirement, but my experience is that the actual skill set to navigate your way through that particular minefield isn't in large supply, and so therefore most people tend to look at it and go, "Oh, that's very complex. We'll put that in the too difficult to do box and walk away." Now that's probably quite sad, and it probably comes back then to this need again to look at the skills and what I call the people assets that we then deploy to make those sort of things come to fruition. Because to me, it's wrong at a number of levels to leave assets that are in, if you like, in a sense, the control of the public sector, the public purse, but actually deprive, let's be quite candid about it, commercial enterprise making better use of them, but actually there's a benefit to be given them back to the public sector, the public purse, in developing and utilising them in the right way. So I think there is a need. I think the public sector, frankly, needs to get up off its backside and sort out the skills and resources to do it more effectively.
David, would else like to comment on that?
I think what I see happening is the way that we are going to be engaging, not so much with assets, but with the relationships with private companies, really has the potential to change significantly. I referred at the very beginning to us adopting a commissioning-based approach, and part of that involves looking at what the best, we call it service delivery option is, the best way that we can deliver a service. And it may be that the best thing to do is to stop delivering it, decommission it, or to continue in-house or expand in-house. But potentially more often than more likely, there's going to be some arrangement where we change the way that the service is delivered. Now that may just be spinning off into wholly owned company, arm's length, or it may be through some kind of joint venture or relationship with private companies that can bring capital in, can bring assets in to help the organiser, to help that particular group. And the intention, we're really at the start of the journey, is that each area of the business will evaluate what the best way to do that is. It may be a case of everybody votes against Christmas, if you like, and they all vote to stay in-house. But there is a fair bit of challenge around the process, and we're seeing a lot of different organisations starting the process of engaging to get private capital to help develop them, or even moving into a wholly owned arm's length company, maybe with a view in a few years' time to then become part of the private sector or spin off to the private. So it's the start of the process, and as David said, there's a skill issue around that. We're developing the skills now to enable us to help our internal divisions do that process and go through that process. And we need the right levels of challenge, support, process to do it. So in a way, we're kind of on a journey there, and don't quite know where it's going to go yet, but we've got the general direction.
If you outsource procurement, and there was a challenge from one of the suppliers, who would be responsible? The people you'd outsource to, or the actual body who did the outsourcing?
Eddie, would you like to?
Still be the authority's responsibility because they'd outsourced the contract. So the buck stops with the authority. It's as simple as that. Just an interesting thought on this outsourcing procurement. Who the hell's going to do it the next time?
Kevin Hyder from Origin Housing. You briefly sort of touched on some of the IT aspects of saving money and efficient procurement. I just wanted a quick straw panel vote what you think the main technologies are that are going to provide efficiencies.
Main technologies that provide efficiencies. I'm not sure we can go into sufficient detail, but
centric, sorry. You want to go and visit the stand, we'll show you something that will save you 60% on every piece of mail that gets on the doorstep. That shouldn't be advertised now, yeah, apologies. Yeah, I know. It doesn't work for us.
okay.
I mean, we're relative laggards in the adoption of e-tendering processes within the council. We as part of our transformation 3 years ago, we implemented SAP, and with the view that it had an e-tendering capability, which it does have, but really not very good. So we are just signed up now and are just about to start doing e-tendering. Many councils have been doing that for donkey's years. So we're just about to reap the benefits and the efficiencies and the speed. And everyone who's been on the training over the last few weeks has been saying, wow, why didn't we do this years ago? So that's the one that we are anticipating. I guess we've already, if you like, bagged and saved and forgotten about the efficiencies from, having kind of 90-odd% compliance with purchase orders and almost 0% off-contract spend, and the technology the SAP Spend tool gives us, which is amazingly good, really, the data that we can get from that. So that's almost kind of in the past, but ahead of us, as in the next few months, we're really kind of looking forwards, if you can say that, to rolling out e-tendering. We hope it'll be better for our suppliers as well.
Thank you. Final comment from Ken.
I've got an interesting question for food for thought on this. Is in the world of IT, do people actually buy IT that they need, or are they actually buying IT they've been conditioned and told that they actually need? And I think the more you actually look at why people buy systems, I did some work on this a few years ago, the number of IT technology projects that actually deliver active return on investment, whether it be in the public or private sector, I think was about 8 or 9%. It is tiny. I think people would buy stuff because, one little NHS trust said to me a few years ago, we're very disappointed SAP didn't bid for our business. And I said, well, you could have gone down to PC World and bought Sage Accounting. Why do you need that? All big organisations have, they're not big organisations. So, interesting thought.
Thank you, Ken. Okay, well, that does actually bring us to just about to time. So I'd like to say thank you very much to the panellists and a round of applause.